So give yourselves a woo. Woo! Oh, y'all are good. But you gotta get the hands going too. So, okay, will you do it again? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, good morning. So nice to have y'all with me this morning. We have a little bit of rain here in Las Vegas. You always have to give you the weather report because we're all over the country, different ones of you. So just checking in, not particularly cold, which is nice, but a little bit of rain, and we love it here. So anytime we get rain, it is a good thing. So all right. Well, this morning you saw probably on there that I'm going to tell you the story of my worst ever singing performance. Anyway, I'm not going to start it right this minute, but that's what we're going to be talking about. And some of you can start probably already thinking about your whatever was your worst ever. And here's the thing. I hate to say this word after it, but yet, because there's always possibilities, there's going to be more of them. And the truth is, the longer we live and the more we do, the more opportunities for failure. But the opposite is true as well. The more opportunities to be excellent and to not perfect, y'all, because I've said it 100 times, being perfect is not the option because we're just not going to be. But we want to be excellent. We always want to be the best we can be. So, but as I wait for y'all to come on, I'm going to go over here to the comments. And this morning you will see that it's just me because of the story that I'm going to tell. And, it's the end of the year. We're coming into the last few days of 2022. Some of y'all are really happy about that. Some of you is like, oh my gosh, it's at the end of the year already. So yeah, we're just a few days away and we get to start into 2023. And and Karen, good morning. I still don't have my word. Karen is so awesome. She always takes a word and sends it to us on a postcard so we can put it in our fridge or car and keep it in focus, because that's the whole point of a word of the year, is what your intention is. And I still just have a couple I'm floating, so I may not even have mine ready till next week, which will be the first week in January. So that's perfectly fine. And if y'all have it, I would always invite you. You can post them today if you know yours already, or be prepared and think about posting it next week. I'm going to first tell you about yesterday. Oh my goodness. If you've read the paper, or you might have seen on the news, Southwest canceled like 80% of their flights. Bill read the statistics out of the paper to me this morning. And I was one of those. So I was here, fortunately, at the Las Vegas airport. I had 3 different flights canceled. So I was at the airport from about 6:30 till 3 yesterday, came back home and going back out this morning later on. So I want to, and you guys are praying women. And Karen will do it for everybody. That's so awesome of you, Karen. So y'all put your words up. But my childhood friend, literally I've known her since I was like 6 months old, and she just passed away last week after about an 8-year battle with cancer. And so I'm flying to Atlanta to sing hopefully and speak at her celebration service. So I am definitely going, but like I said, got booted off everything yesterday. It was a crazy day at the airport. And then today I am on a flight at 11. So if y'all want to pray for the airlines, that would be great, because it would be nice to get on the flight and get there. So I'm going to leave at 11 this morning and get in at 11:30 tonight. One of those, there were so many people trying to rebook. So, I would suggest to you, if you are flying somewhere, now most of it was Southwest. However, many others were canceled as well. Different airlines for various reasons. So anyway, good luck if you're traveling. So I've got a couple books on my iPad and I'm going to be ready to do that. So, your son's got canceled for today. There really are a lot of cancellations on every airline. So y'all be sure to check if you are traveling. That's the one thing that I love about driving. But it was too far, probably a 3-day trip from here to drive, and did not have enough time to try to drive there and all that. So I'm going to the airline. So just praying I can get on it because that's so important. I don't want to miss. All right. So let's get into this subject for the day. So many of y'all know that as well as a speaker, I'm a singer, and truly I've been a singer my entire life. I mean, from the time I was a little girl, my dad always had me sing for the relatives. And so those of y'all who've been around for a while, have heard me talk about that before. But my first probably real, I guess, singing was when I was in junior high school. My first official solo in church was in 7th grade in a youth musical. And I don't even think they have youth musicals anymore, but they were awesome. They were so fun, and they united us, all the group together. And anyway, so I was really honored and loved the fact that I got to sing a solo in that. So as the years went on, I did go to college, and I majored in music and in voice. And again, loved it. My mother thought I should go into so I could be a secretary. I don't know what that would have been, study bookkeeping or something like that, but I just couldn't make myself do that. Although there have been years when I've actually done bookkeeping and accounting and worked in an office, all of those things. But for my degree, I wanted a music degree. So I studied the classics. So to get a music degree, y'all might know. So I've sung opera. I've performed operas. It's really fun to sing. I didn't understand it so much when I was in college. It's like, why do we have to sing this music? But oh my gosh, what it does for your voice. So any of y'all who are wanting to take and thinking maybe your whole life you thought you always wanted to take voice lessons, go do it. And if they have you sing some classical music, it's because that's what builds and strengthens your voice. So I've been very blessed. My voice just always has performed for me. When I needed to sing, it would sing. But I'll be also honest in telling you, I've studied my whole life up until the last probably 10 years, which probably shame on me. I should have. I kind of got to Vegas and I don't know. I didn't go find a teacher is really what happened. Oh, Nancy. Hi, Nancy. And hi, Kathy. Good morning. You're awesome, Kathy. Thank you so much. And I see that we do have a prayer request up here, everybody. So be sure to notice that. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Yukara might be close. I'm not sure. We will definitely pray for your mom. So as I've gone through the years, I've just been blessed. I've studied. I know how to, support my voice. And as I've transitioned, so to speak, and now I'm more of a speaker who sings sometimes, whereas I used to be a singer who would just speak while I sang some of the time. That the singing is the joy of my heart. I love speaking. Y'all who've heard me know that. I love it. I just feel blessed and honored to be able to do that. So through the years, now let me just explain. I am like every other singer. Let me tell y'all, if you think that every recording you hear, because it sounds so perfect, was sung perfectly, then you're wrong, because what you can do in a studio is amazing. And even this, one of my favorite singers is Sandi Patty. And I can just tell you, because I just know that everybody makes a mistake here and there. We just do. You just can't expect that you're never going to make a mistake. In a studio, they can kind of fix it, and it's no big deal. And it even happens live, and it surely has happened to me multiple times. There have been times, y'all, when I've sung the second verse twice, or, I, didn't, where I missed a note here and there. And I loved my vocal coach. So I also went to seminary. I did not finish my music degree, but I went there because I always had this thing inside that I wanted to be ready, and I still do. I want to be ready. So whenever I'm asked, whatever God calls me to do, if he opens a door for me to sing someplace, that I am always ready. And even in all the churches I've been to, always let the music minister know that I always have music prepared. So if they ever have somebody who got sick and can't sing on a Sunday morning, excuse me, they could call me, because I would always have something ready I could sing at the last minute. That's just been one of my kind of things. So, and I've been called to do that several times. I've even been called to speak on a Sunday morning when the pastor couldn't speak. So I kind of like being the backup, if you need somebody, I'm available. So anyway, through the years, I've had just those normal, nothing that broke my heart or that, I felt terrible about. Yes, I missed a note here and there. Not that I wanted to, but it does happen. Um, and, when you're, particularly when you're a soprano, what you want to do is make sure that your high notes are always, now you want your high notes to be perfect, because those are the notes, those are called the money notes. You get to the end of the song and it's like, whatever that is, those notes need to be really on it. So we all make sure we really put it out there that those last money notes are right there. So, and I think overall, I probably hit most of those throughout my career, I'll say. And up until this event that I'm going to tell you about, the worst thing I ever had happen was, I think, I'm not sure I had the kids yet, but it was in, where was it? In the Kansas City area in Overland Park. And we were members of Emmanuel Baptist Church, and the choir director was a lady. And so it was a revival. So a week where we had music every night. And one of the nights I was doing a solo. And this was the weirdest thing. I still can feel it when I talk about it. I got up to sing, okay? And I was thinking of the words in my head. You're always kind of preparing, what are you going to, how are you going to start out? And y'all just can't believe this, but she started playing a song. The music that she was playing was not matching in my head. The song that I thought I was singing or something, I still don't really know what happened, but what my head was getting ready to sing was not the music that she was playing. So I stood there for a minute. She played the intro, and y'all have been to places, it's usually for kids singing in a recital, and the accompanist will play it a couple times. So she played it, played the second time. So I said, okay, so now in your brain, what are you doing? So I just walked over to her and I said, what's the first word of this song? Because if I had the first word, I could sing the whole song. She gave me the word. I walked back over. I didn't apologize because, y'all, that's one of the things. And for those of you, so here's a little nugget for you, in case you haven't heard this before. Whenever you're speaking or singing or doing a presentation, if you goof up, just do what you need to do. Like I just walked back over and and started singing the song. I didn't say, oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there, doing that whole apology thing. No. You don't need to do all that. You just go, you stand up and you do what you're supposed to do. That's your job at that moment. That was my job as a singer. So up until just a few months ago, that was the worst thing that ever happened. So I sang the song and it was great. So I have been so blessed by so many people inviting me to sing. And here in town, I do get to sing. And I'm not going to use names just because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But these ladies know who they are. But I've been invited to sing. So there's a monthly luncheon that I get to sing the national anthem every month. And it's really great. I love it. I don't do it as a solo. I do it as leading them to sing. Because through the years, there's all the amazing artists have done a fabulous job of singing various renditions of the national anthem, right? But in the meantime, the people have not had a chance to sing it. You can't sing along with Mariah Carey because she's going to do a total different rendition. Y'all know what I'm saying. So I decided that since they asked me and gave me this honor to do this, that I would invite the people to sing it with me. And, I think they're loving it. And they do. The first couple of times I took the words so that everybody would have them, because sometimes it's been years since people have actually sung it themselves. So I took the words. So now that's what we do all together. So a few months ago, there was a gathering, an evening gathering where we're together with some candidates were coming. And she asked me if I would sing a couple of songs. And so one of them was God Bless the USA, which I love to sing. It's a great, great song, so patriotic. And she said, just pick out, something else. So here's where it started. I was going through my computer and I found a song, and it's actually a Twyla Paris song, and it's called God is in Control. And y'all, the words are so perfect. The words are fabulous. So if you like the song or if you've never heard it, just look it up for the words and put it as a poem, in front of you. And it just, the words were so perfect. But as I started singing it and trying to learn, and I had like 2 weeks to learn and to decide what to do. Thank you, Nancy. I do too. I do too. It really is a great song. Um, and so as I was learning the song, every time I sang it, it wasn't right. I kept, and it wasn't as much the words as just, if y'all are in music at all, there is a certain way that songwriters put music together, and some fit a person's voice. Okay, so I know overall, I know songs that really fit my voice when I start to sing them. And I like songs that are very well put together from a very melodic, easy to sing. That's why so many of us love Moon River, right? It is so melodic. Everybody in the world can sing Moon River because it's just this melodic song, which is actually what I'm going to sing at the celebration tomorrow when for my friend. But this song, and the more I practiced, it's like, this is so wrong. This song, I just couldn't get it in my throat. I couldn't get it in my body, which is what we as singers do. I changed key. I had several different keys. And I thought, okay, so I'm going to actually take a word sheet. I try to sing as much from memory as I can. But I had my word sheet. I thought, okay, so I've got this, and the song is just so perfect. But I knew it wasn't right for me. So part of the lesson here is when the spirit is telling you something's not right, listen. We've talked about that. We've had a Tuesday morning where we talked about that. But the words were just so great. I wanted to sing it from that standpoint. And my friend who invited me to sing, she didn't tell me what to sing. She just said, pick another song, whatever. And I said, okay, great. This was great. I got to pick my own song. And I had another backup song, which was perfect. Okay. Perfect in my voice, perfect melody, all of that. But I decided to do this Twila Paris song. So y'all, I got up to sing we did the pledge and the national anthem. That all went good. Everybody's singing, sang the Lee Greenwood song, God Bless the USA. And then it was time for this song. And I tell y'all, it was like something took over my body. I know that sounds crazy, but I knew from the moment those words started coming out. Now, did I sing the right words? Yeah, I had them right in front of me, so I could look down and make sure I had the words. But the song sounded like, I'm not sure I even know how to tell you, but it was awful. So those of you who love me are saying, oh, I'm sure it wasn't that awful. But yes, it really was. It just was so bad that if I could have just disappeared and floated right under that stage, or just vaporized or something, that would have been really good. Because I knew it was wrong, and I was in my head trying to figure out it just the melody wasn't fitting in my throat right. I've never ever had it happen before, and I pray I don't have it happen again because it was so awful. But as a performer, what do? You keep on going, you finish the song. Now, maybe if I had been, I'll always remember the Miss America contest. Now, she had it planned, but she started singing years and years ago. Y'all have to be probably at least my age in order to remember this. Miss America, she got up, and she's a classically trained singer, and she got up and started singing this great opera. And then right about, not even halfway in, she said, oh, what the heck? Y'all don't want to hear that anyway. So if I had been a little more astute in my comedic mind or a little humor, maybe I could have salvaged it and said, oh my gosh, you know what, that is just not working, and made a joke out of it and done something. But in the middle of it, y'all, I had no joke. I just didn't know what else to do. So maybe you've had that happen to you, because most everybody has had some terrible, you forgot the words, or you did something, or it turned out awful. And so it's at that point where, it's, what do we do? So I finished the song, and everybody was gracious and clapped. They shouldn't have, but that was the nice thing to do, and they did. I came off stage, and I had two choices that I could see at that moment when I came down. I could have just walked straight on out and then just kept going and go out the door. Now that's really what I wanted to do because I really didn't want to face anybody, y'all. I didn't want to, and I didn't want to put them on the spot because people are so nice. People are so nice. And, you know, when you sing, every time I sing, they will always say very nice things like, oh, that was so nice, or I enjoyed that, or whatever. But the truth is, they couldn't say that in good conscience. And I don't like people to have to lie. Now, maybe this, you're saying, Delinda, why are you telling us? We don't need to hear all this. What's the whole point of this? But the point is, we all have those things that happen that we didn't expect, that we certainly didn't plan, that maybe came out the worst. And you say, what's the worst case scenario? And maybe sometimes that is, what's happened to you at some point. But it's really what we do with that and what is our attitude towards that. So I did stay, and the courteous thing, and is go back now and listen to the speakers. Because, of course, all this was the very beginning of the program. So I sat and I listened to the speakers, which were great. And I heard a great story about the writing of the national anthem. It was really great. If I can remember it well enough, or contact him someday, I'll tell that story at one of these meetings where I sing the national anthem, because it was so good. In any case, at the very end, and there were several people there that had never heard me sing, that I know. And those were the ones I really didn't want to talk to, because I didn't want that. People will always remember that last thing that you did, the worst thing that stays in their mind better than you can sing perfectly 100 times. But that last one that you totally flub up, that's what they remember. And there were probably some of them saying, why in the world was she invited to sing here? So it was really messing with my ego, y'all. It really was. So as time went on, and so I had already been invited to sing at another event, a retreat actually, the following weekend. And I really had to own up to that. So I reached out to the lady who had asked me, and I said, I don't know what happened on whatever Friday night. I said, I don't know what happened. That you've heard me saying dozens and dozens of times, that's not my normal. And I said, but it's up to you. I totally understand. If you don't want me to sing and you want to just play the song, this was I can't even think of what the name of it is now, but by a very famous Christian artist. And it was a great song, very melodic, fit in my voice, just great. All of that stuff, everything a singer looks for. So she said, well, she says, I understand. She says, she was very gracious about it, let me just say. And she said, but would you mind? And I said, this other song is great, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. And she asked me, she said, well, would you mind just sending me a recording of it? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, just on your phone, just sing it to me. Now, in her behalf, that was very smart, because she was in charge of this meeting. On my behalf, y'all, I have not had to audition, which is what this was. I have not had to audition for any singing in 30 years. I mean, I can't even remember the last time that I've actually had to audition for something. But that, in essence, was what she was asking me to do. And like I said, from her standpoint, that was a good business leader. She needed to do that. It was very important that she did. So I did. So it was so weird and very humbling at the same time, which obviously I must have needed. There was a couple of little humiliations going on there. But I sent it to her, and she said, oh, gave me goosebumps. That was great. Thanks. We're set. So I went on, and that Saturday morning I sang it, and thank you to Jesus, it went well. And the truth is, she offered me the opportunity. And as one of my dear, dear friends said, God used her to redeem me. He used her to give me that opportunity to, come back up and sing. It's like get back on the bicycle. Because, when you have a flub like that, it's like, what happens what's the deal if that happens again? I just decided it was that one song that I was not meant to sing in the first place. Okay. So listen to your gut. So one of my lessons was listen to your gut. And when you feel the Spirit telling you, no, this is awful. Because that night I could have told her, said, you know what? That third song never did gel. So I'm just going to end with God Bless the USA. And she would have been perfectly fine. I know her very well. And she would have said, oh, well, okay, sure, no problem. So I could have, but I went ahead anyway. And here's, as I was talking this over with my dear friend who is actually on here, I'm not going to point her out. She said, well, maybe, Delinda, there's another lesson in here. And I said, yes, well, tell me, because I'm not really seeing it. And she said, because you do things so well. She said, because, people look at you, I'm not really a celebrity, but in that thing, I mean, I'm an influencer and people are watching me all the time. And 95% of the time I do things well. Just God does that for me. He just, breathes through me and sings through me and all of those things. I'm really, really blessed. And she said, but maybe there was somebody there that night who needed to see that you were not perfect. It's like, wow. I mean, that kind of blew me away because I sure didn't see that side of the story. And she said, yeah, because when people see somebody always performing well, they just assume that, you're like gifted and you don't ever have any problems and nothing bad ever happens to you. And some of y'all may think that because, you see the good side of me most of the time, Tuesday mornings, and we're laughing and having a good time and all of that. But that night people saw a whole different side of me as well as me. I'd never had that happen. So I saw that as well. And so I just pray now, since she mentioned that to me, wow, if my flubbing up, for lack of a better word, if my flubbing up helps someone in that room see that they could do something, because if I can mess up and do it anyway that they can, like that is a big lesson. Because I know so many, I'm going to say women, I think men too, but since we all mostly, in our groups and everything, we're women and our Fun Fearless, and that so often women hold back doing something because they're afraid they're going to mess up. And then if they mess up, that it's going to be like the end of the world, or that the world's going to open up and swallow them. And in some case, I would have liked to have just been swallowed up and left the room, but it didn't, and I'm still here. And I sang the next week, and I sang last week, did a little Christmas sing along. So life goes on if you allow it to. So if you're thinking about doing something, so we're finishing, that's why I thought this week was such a great week, is we're finishing 2022 and going into 2023. Look and think about, what did you do this year? What do you want to carry over and continue to do? Maybe you just got some things started and you want to continue to do that and build it. And maybe there's some things you need to release, that you thought were going to be good and productive and stuff, and they weren't. And so you're going to make some changes and shifts to what you want to do in 2023. If there is something, I am challenging you right now. If there is something that you've always wanted to do, then do it. You don't know that you have 2024 or 2025 or even the second half of 2023. We do not know what's happening, whether it's in the world or just you personally or in your family. So don't wait any longer. You don't have to be perfect. I've been singing for over 40 years and had the absolute worst performance of my entire life. I truly hope I don't have another one, but if God decides to use me in order to help somebody else, then I'm willing to do it. I mean, that's the thing. So if that was sent to me for that purpose, then that's okay. But maybe, because we have a Savior who is a Redeemer, He redeems everything. And so it was no surprise. Nothing is a surprise to Him, right? So maybe He knew I was going to sing that song, even though He kept telling me, this was not right. This song was not the right song for me. But if someone in there, or even this morning, if any of you are inspired in some way to go ahead and try something that's scary, or you've been asked to do something that's that next level for you. Maybe you are really good at doing this one thing. I don't know what that might be, but you've been asked to do something like a little bit harder, a little bit more involved, and you're really afraid to do it. Don't be afraid. Don't let the fear hold you back. step out in faith and just believe God's got you for this. If you're feeling that inside and want to do, the Spirit of God talks to us all the time if we just listen. So I'm going to keep on singing. I'm going to go tomorrow, and I still have a little raspiness in my voice, and I've already alerted them. If I'm in voice and I can sing truly the easiest song there is to sing out there. Did y'all know? I'm going to tell you a little story. I don't even know what time it is. Oh, we're okay. That Audrey Hepburn sang Moon River in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. So if y'all like Audrey, or if you like that movie, you will remember it being in there. And Henry Mancini wrote the music to it. And when he was asked, Audrey Hepburn only had like a 5-note range. Okay. I read the beginning story on this. It was so interesting that he knew he had to write a song for her, a theme song to be in there that had not very much movement. Moon River, off to see the world. So it just kind of has this little range in there so that she could perform it well, and it worked. I think there's a little guitar playing, and she sang the song. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. Then Andy Williams went on to make it super famous, and he wrote a book with that name, and he named a show after that name. So Moon River, it's been out there a while. So I thought that was interesting. So if I can, I will. And if not, I've already told them they know, whatever. And so they'll just play it with Andy singing. So that's a place where I've had to release and not think I'm Superwoman. I can do it in spite. My voice, when I was probably in my 30s and 40s, I could push through anything. As a matter of fact, when Alicia was about 2 years old, I did a Mother's Day program at my church, and I totally had laryngitis. Because what happens as a singer, oftentimes, if the songs are right, and that's the key, you as a singer, you can sing above the voice, above the throat. So I couldn't talk to the people because I had laryngitis, but I could sing because my songs were so perfectly suited. I could sounds crazy, but go above the throat, and I could sing. So I was able to sing the whole program. I can't do that anymore. It's just a change, I guess, with, for whatever reason, that's just the way it is. So because I've tried, I thought, well, maybe I can just sing this song up here. Maybe I could. But in any case, so it's probably way more information than y'all wanted to know. But I do want this to have a point, and that is to inspire you to realize you don't have to be perfect, y'all. We never will be. So do the things that scare you anyway. And when you make a mistake, get back up, get on the bike, get back on the horse, all of those sayings that we've heard. Just do it again. And if you need to brush up some skills, go do it. That's okay. That's being smart. That's not being like, oh, I failed, well, I better go back to school. But if you need some skills, go get those skills. And I am intending to sing in full voice at the Wow the World retreat. I always sing at our retreats. So unless something really changes, I'm intending to sing. But let me assure you, they will be well-selected songs. And also there'll be things that will be fun and motivational for all of you. So, all right, let me see what's over here. So Lisa, they probably remembered you're human and that you tried. I hope so. I really hope so. It's usually our inner negative voices that are saying the worst. Many when we're being vulnerable are feeling sympathy. So, and I do appreciate that. And hopefully none of them even remember it. That's what I really hope. So Happy New Year from Karen, and send me those one words. Yes. So Karen has been wonderful the last few years. As you think of your word of intention for 2023, just post them in wherever, post them here next today. You can, when y'all are watching the when you're re-watching it, whatever. And also next week, but also you can post them. Matter of fact, Lisa, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, either you or Kathy, post in the Fun Fearless, because I'm going to be leaving here and getting on the airplane. Post in there about the word of intention, and if they will post their word and do a shout out to Karen that she will send their word to them, and we'll just start collecting them in one thread, so that if everybody posts them there, they'll be right there. So I would appreciate if one of y'all would do that. All right. So any other last comments? Let me see if I missed any over here. Nancy, that's so nice that you did it while you're out strolling or taking your walk for the morning. That is great. All right, so I think that's it, y'all. Thank you very much, and you know, it's exciting as we look into the new year. This is going to be our best year yet. You know, great things are ahead. Look forward that. Try the things that scare you. Do something, a really good exercise is every week do something you've never done before. Just try something new because it builds that up, So you try something new, it works, great. If it doesn't, well, one more thing, I think it was let me see if I get it. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, and they say it took him 1,000 tries. And somebody asked him, didn't that bother him, or why didn't he give up? He said, no, I learned 1,000 ways it did not work. So that's how we need to look at things. If it takes 50 times and it doesn't work, then maybe the next one will, whatever that is that you might be looking on. So all right, as we close out this year of 2022, I'm really grateful, thankful to God for all of you, thankful that we can get together like this, thankful just for all the opportunities we have. Let's not waste them. Let's make the best of every opportunity that we have. And let's close this year thinking, as always, that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. Choose wisely and go out and make this next year everything you want it to be and your best year yet. Love you guys. Thank you. Happy New Year. Bye-bye now.